Okay, we'll call the April 4th, 2019 Planning Commission meeting to order and stand for the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we are ready to call the roll.
Mr. Townsend, he's absent. Mr. Poole.
Here.
Ms. Woodard, still out of town. Mr. Allen.
Here.
Mr. Hollisworth.
Here.
Ms. Mason.
Here.
Mr. Sneed, he's out of town. Mr. Powell.
Yes.
And Ms. Boyd.
Here.
We have a quorum. We have 6 members present and 3 absent.
Okay, is there a motion for approval of the minutes from March 7th?
So moved.
Is one of those to say? All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the minutes will stand as stated. We have 2 add-ons tonight, so Gina says I can bunch these together. We'll be all right. Do we have a motion to add these onto our agenda tonight?
So moved.
I got both of you.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
Item number 1.
Item number 1 is a request from XL Real Estate LLC for right-of-way abandonment on New Hope Lane. If in your packet there is there's a resolution that we're actually going to change it to an ordinance, and so it'll be 3 readings at the Board of Mayor and Alderman. But XL Real Estate LLC owns all the property either side of the right-of-way on New Hope Lane, parcels 17, 1, and 2.01. They're doing expansion. Where the right-of-way is basically about where 1/3 of the building will be. So they would like for us to abandon that right-of-way so they can do an expansion. XL Industries does metal fabrication. They repair gantry cranes. They build new gantry cranes. They're really a good corporate citizen. They generate a fairly sizable amount of sales tax for the City of Springfield, and we would like to help them as much as possible. The road itself is more or less a private road. It was never accepted by the county, and when we annexed that area, we never accepted it in the city. We've never maintained it. Now, we're still attorneys. We're going to transfer this property to XL Industries because, like I said, it's not a standard thing, because it's not like Gorham where it was a public road and the city's got ownership of it and going. We're trying to figure out the best way to make this happen.
Okay, first we need a motion to put this on the
Thank you,
for
Mr.
discussion.
Thank you.
I jumped.
It's okay.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Sorry, Gene.
It's okay.
Do we have questions?
Well, after what you've said, it's hard for me to see how we have anything to do with it since it's not owned by the city.
Well, we're not sure if we own it, the private property owners own it. We annexed it. We never took or accepted it as a road. Now, you get attorneys talking, and now the question is do we have fee simple to it or not? And if we don't, then we need to figure out who has fee simple to it and how that gets transferred to XL Industries. Now, with that said, XL Industries is on both sides of the street. So chances are if we don't have fee simple to it, they have fee simple to it. But
Does this start right there next to their building now?
yes, sir. Well, not right next, but it's that road goes right past in front of their building, yes. and then down to this unnamed right-of-way that was part of Glenview Estates.
that Johnny Knight's old building?
Yes.
Yes.
It is.
You're right on it, brother. So, you know, they got in there, and like I said, they do quite a bit of metal work, and they really are a very good contributor to the sales tax
Well, it
base.
looks like to me, if we don't have anything to do with this, that it's nothing to us to let it go. And it looks like they need to work this out. It's theirs.
We will.
Sounds
We will
like.
work it out. We will work it out between us and the city, but we still have to go through the process of abandoning the right-of-way. It's just to dot all the i's, cross all the t's, make sure that we're making the effort to make this transfer of property as seamless as possible.
So you're just looking to us to approve this?
Just
And it
approve
sounds
them.
like the staff is in favor of this.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Because if they don't get it, they won't be expanding.
Makes sense to me. I make a motion that we, yes,
Well,
approve this, okay.
Is there a second to the motion to
I'll
approve?
second.
Okay, we're ready to vote.
Ms. Boyd?
Yes.
Mr. Hollingsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Mason?
Yes,
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Passes 6-0.
All right, item number 2 is a plat of Lot 2, Phase 2 townhomes at Village Greens at Springfield Townhomes. Is there a motion to put this on the floor for discussion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? We're on the floor.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, what we have is, this is in Village Greens. It is the mixed-use development there off of Rose Street. Back, you know, the first phase actually was on Golfview Lane. So there are houses already there. DiMaggio comes off of Golfview and goes back to Golf Club. And there's 5 condos, well, 5 townhouses existing. And so Mr. Reyes has purchased this property, and he is in the process to selling it to a developer who is going to put 6 more townhouses in this phase. And so this is just the preliminary. Y'all are approving approximately where those houses will be and the driveway locations on those townhomes. After they get this preliminary approval, what they will do is they will get building permits, and then they will build the foundations, crawl spaces, slab-on-grade construction, however they're going to do it. And Steve Arts will come out, or a surveyor will come out and shoot the corners of the foundations, because the only thing that is going to be sold is the townhouse. The remaining property, the remaining property will go to the existing homeowners association. The reason I'm using townhouses is because it's banking vocabulary. They're detached condominiums, but these are townhouses. The townhouse designation allows for first-time buyer financing, where a condominium designation does not. So everything that you will see for future condominiums in Springfield will be designated townhomes. So that's what's happening here, is they're just selling the living units. The remainder of the property will go to the homeowners association for that, and then after they build and sell these, I don't know if this developer will continue purchasing sections from Mr. Reyes and move forward with that, but that's the plan. There's room for 25 in total.
Has this ever been done in Springfield before?
Yes.
Okay.
The only difference is that they're detached. We have attached condominiums over Springfield. So it's just like building small patio homes and just building the home.
These are the 5 that's currently there. We already have 5 of them right there.
And
where you're looking, with that, what you're talking about now is this right here.
And the original developer, David Lukey, he was a home builder, and he didn't have any experience in attached dwelling construction. So he wanted to build them as detached condominiums, which is fine. Our ordinance, our subdivision regulations doesn't say how you move forward. You can move forward with 4 units in a building, or you can just move forward with 1 unit in 1 building. And that's what we're doing here. Now, some staff has discussed that 4 of these are loading on the DiMaggio. The original 5 don't load on the DiMaggio, they load on the private alley. There was some discussion about the possibility of, if however the planning commission wants to move forward, of having these townhomes load off of the private alley as well. There was some other discussions. Gina has some more information she'd like to share with you.
Well, my concern was having everything load off of the private alley is going to put a lot of cars down through there. Just because I know the fire department is concerned about this anyway, but it's already built, so there's not a whole lot they can have input on. But loading off of DiMaggio Drive is going to take away some of that would be onto that private alley, and I'm just trying to sort of look out for the fire department, citizen safety, and everything like that. So, because people over here have a tendency to come in here and park on this private alley, which they're not supposed to, and the Reyes's are supposed to be telling everybody, do not park there. And so they're just trying to have to take it at one at a time, telling them about it. But I just think that for safety purposes, loading off of DiMaggio is probably the better way.
So you will be approving, you know, we've had this discussion several times before, you know, our municipal ordinance talks about driveway requirements. And since these will not meet the minimum requirement is described in the Springfield Municipal Ordinance, there's the provision where they show the typical or how they're going to do it, and y'all get the opportunity to approve it. And it meets the Springfield Municipal Ordinance as well. So that's what we're asking is, we're asking for contingent or conditional approval. Gina and I, yesterday and this morning, sat down and realized that not all the curb work is shown here. There are some off-street parking that's not shown here. We've talked with Steve Arts. He's aware of that. He said he had it. It just didn't make it into this submittal. So
Actually, that's on this one.
right. So when we get
On the other one.
well, no, it doesn't have it
On
here
this one either? Okay, never
Doesn't have
mind.
it there
There,
either.
that's right.
So
Both of them will be contingent.
So it'll be conditional upon Steve getting that to us. Also, this one will be conditional upon the homeowners association paperwork getting to us, reviewed and approved.
Does the homeowners association only set up just for this block of units that
No.
we're looking at?
The original 5 are part of that homeowners association. And then these 6 will be joining that homeowners association. And then the remainder, as they get built, will join that homeowners association. Now, to make it even more complicated, we like complicated, there is a homeowners association for the entire subdivision. So the people that live in these townhomes will be members of 2 homeowners associations.
That'll be interesting.
Well, the first 5 are already like that.
We've run into these driveway things 2 or 3 times in the last several years. When the developer goes to build this stuff and they issue the plat to us, do they not know where the driveway has to be and the setbacks on it?
Well-
Or why do we gotta change it every time we run into it with
Well,
property, we run into it with
yes, sir.
this, we keep running into this driveway situation.
Anything that's under 15,000 square feet can't meet this requirement because there's not enough side yard to pull the driveway around to the back.
I understand that, but we keep running into it. So
And
when we
you-
get
and
the plat should lay it out as to what it is gonna be.
And that's what's happened here. That's what they're doing here. They're showing where the driveways will be in the plat.
Off of DiMaggio. That's the driveways right
Yeah,
there.
I see the driveway.
So there's no
I know what it
easy
looks like.
way, there's no easy way, I haven't, I don't know that there, right, at the present time, that there is a desire to move away from what's in the subdivision, into the municipal code concerning driveways.
Because it's none of our business, but how in the world you gonna work under two homeowner associations? One says you can do it, one says you can't.
Oh, no, they're very similar. They are very similar.
Oh, they are
One
right-
just keeps.
They are right now.
One, well, and these people have the same voting rights in the big one. The big one doesn't have voting rights in theirs. So their homeowners association is gonna keep up the property, possibly the roofs, the private road, the curbs, so there's a lot of stuff that the others aren't paying for. They're only paying for the maintenance and upkeep of the green trails and the stormwater detention facility and any vegetative buffer that's there up against Moreland Estates. So their costs are, because the city's got all the rest of the roads.
What's the purpose of this private alley?
The purpose of that private alley, it was negotiated in the original PUD agreement, in their planned unit developments. It was negotiated at a time when we didn't have underground utilities and they could get higher densities, and the developer wanted that 18-foot wide alley as opposed to a 20-foot wide street. Don't know why. The planning commission at that time agreed to that, because all planned unit developments are approved by the planning commission and then approved once again by the board of mayor and aldermen. So it was a design criteria probably to get a few more units in. I can assure you, if a planned urban a planned unit development comes to the city of Springfield new, you won't see those densities because underground utilities are required now. Electricity is required, so that pulls off an extra 10% right off the top. So you won't see that. We will not go lower than a 20-foot street because a fire apparatus needing to move through there. And I'm not sure that we will move forward with any more private roads as well. But it's the lemon that we were given, and we're going to make the sweetest lemonade that we can.
If we allowed the drives to load into the private alley, would the city then have to take over the maintenance of that alley?
No, sir.
Okay.
All the other units, okay, this is the only section that will not load into or onto that private alley. The 4 that are shown on DiMaggio and the 2 that are shown on Golf Club, they will load in those places as designed. Everything else will load on that private alley. And there's a total of, well, I think there's a total of 25, correct, Pam?
Yes, there's a total of 25.
Total of 25, that's counting the 5 original. So this 6, there'll be another 14.
And how is the staff stand on this item?
The only concern is from the electric department that they will have to redo their electrical conduit to meet the current layout.
And Sandy's here if you need to ask her a question from the electric department.
And Pam LaChapelle is here. She's representing the developer if you have any questions of her.
You did say there was a concern as the fire trucks and all these types of things had to go into that. And
There is, I mean, yes, there is. I mean,
because of the parking,
because of the parking and because of the width of it as well. The fire department does not like it, but it's already there. They can't go back and say it has to be a wider width now because of, it was built before they have the current fire code that they're under. I mean, this was done, what, 2006?
So
They
with
did.
that said, Mrs. Boyd, the homeowners association is supposed to have a very stringent and punitive section about parking on that street or that alley. You are not allowed to do so. If you do so, you will be fined and towed. And park in your driveway, park in the off-street parking, or get fined and towed. Am I correct on that, Pam?
That's correct. The management company will also maintain the alley. We will also, they will be required to maintain the alley. It'll be part of their dues. There's also going to be irrigation, landscaping, things of that, and that's the reason why there's two separate homeowners associations, is because there won't be an exterior homeowners association fee, because it'll be independent to the, just like any other single-family home, even though these are townhomes, it'll be just like your homeowner's insurance with any other single-family home. The additional dues will be for the maintenance of the alley, for the irrigation, landscaping, things of that nature. And there is going to be, and there will be strict requirements as far as the alley is concerned, and parking, and penalties should someone decide to not follow the rules.
Okay, are there other questions?
Yeah, I'm just wondering what type of job is this gonna be for the city, the electric department? You said to replace conduit, is that what you said?
The city will not do the conduit work. The developer will do the conduit work per the direction and requirements of the electric department. The only thing that the electric department will do, and correct me if I'm wrong, Sandy, is they will pull the wire and set the transclosures and the transformers. But the pads and the conduit is done by the developer, and it's just like any other subdivision in the city of Springfield that has been approved since the first phase of Saddlebrook. We passed that after the first phase of Saddlebrook.
How many times this thing been sold?
It has been sold to different people once. Mr. Batson bought the majority of it, and the guy that owns Session Paving bought the condominium part, and he wanted to subdivide it, and because
But been sold, Billy sold his part to
Mr. Reyes.
Reyes. Now he's gonna sell to somebody else.
No, Mr. Reyes is selling that section. They're gonna develop it. The only things, after they get through, that property, other than the townhomes, goes into the group parcel with the 5 other
Okay.
townhomes.
It's been a mud hole since 2006?
Yes, sir.
So it's been a mud hole for 2006. It's not fair to the people who live in Moreland that back up this thing. It's not fair at all to them. Because this thing, looking at hindsight, it never should have been approved for this small lots and that much density in that area. I mean, it happened, we can't change that. But we're gonna have to put some kind of ultimatum on it and say, hey, the next person, whoever owns these lots, you're going to finish them. It's not fair
And
to
Mr.
people who live in Moreland.
and Mr.
It's not fair to
Reyes-
drive by it and it looked like it looks like.
Yes, sir.
And it's been that way since Stephen Earl got killed and they sold it.
Right.
They made a mess of this thing out there.
Yeah. Mr. Reyes he has every intention of building this out. He's in the second phase of it. He's got the base stone in, he's got the binder in. He's getting ready to build that middle value home section. He has every intention of finishing out the single family portion of that. He's just not a townhome style builder.
And that's okay, I understand that, but he need to light a fire on his feet to get him to finish this thing.
Well, that's by the weather, he was not able to get his base stone in, he was not able to get it paved. We're in the process right now, he's gotten the base stone in, the binder in for that next section. He's gotten with staff, and we're in the process of establishing the bonding amount so that he can move forward. And yes, we agree. Mr. Reyes has also been one of the gentlemen who has been buying the large number, or have in the past, the smaller lots, the non-conforming lots that had water and sewer taps already where homes had been removed. He's changed, him and Jim Moore and Brandon Clark have changed the face of 17th Avenue and Page Street. So, they're working hard to make Springfield a better place. They're working hard, and they're making some money as well. But they have invested heavily in the city of Springfield, and they're moving forward. And I will just say I'm very appreciative of their investment in our community, and I look forward to their continued success.
All right, any more questions? Is there a motion for conditional approval? That would be on the condition of showing the curbs and whatever's required for
Yes.
proceed.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We're ready to vote.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Poole?
Yes.
Ms. Boyd?
Yes.
Ms. Mason?
Yes.
Mr. Hollingsworth?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Passes 6-0.
All right, item number 3 is a replat of Village Greens at Springfield Phase 1 condos. Is there a motion to put this on the floor?
So,
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? We're ready to go, Dave.
Okay, this is what's left. It includes the 5 existing, and we have and this is the final plat of those 5, and you will see what we're talking about when they come back. So the 5 and the other 14 potential units for this is what's remainder. So since they're selling off this other portion, they have to subdivide the original section there.
Original 5.
Don't they have Steve's
What?
final underneath?
The replat?
Yeah, is it showing the townhomes that are there?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the final of that little first section, and that's what they'll bring back to us. That's exactly what it'll look like, and it'll have the latitude or the state plane coordinates of the corners. And it'll be within that legal description of the property that they were sold.
This bottom sheet is what you first approved, is what they will bring back to us too.
And I will go ahead and mention, not about this one, but we are getting more and more interest in these townhome type developments in Springfield.
We need some.
They're looking to cater to a retirement market. So this one, we were going to request a contingent or conditional approval as well, because it doesn't have all the curb, all the road, all the side street parking, or off-street parking that is actually there. And when Steve gets us that, and we get the homeowners association, the documents, and we get those approved, we will move forward with them beginning to develop or get building permits for this 6 that they're looking for tonight. Well, that they just got preliminary or contingent approval on.
Okay, any questions on these?
We see the future on the other side of the alley there.
Yes, sir.
How many units will this
There will
totally
be,
be?
there will be another 14. There will be a total of 25. And the ones that are on which we'll say for the sake of this conversation, on the south side of the alley, they should be facing towards that wet weather creek conveyance down there. And the backs will be on the alleyway. But there'll be, after that 6, there'll be another 14. And that's it, 25 total.
Make a motion to approve on the
Okay,
contingency.
okay, conditionally approved.
Got it, I already got
Is
it
there a
written.
second?
Second.
All right. We have a motion and a second. We're ready to vote.
Ms. Boyd,
Yes.
Mr. Poole,
Yes.
Mr. Powell,
Yes.
Mr. Hollingsworth,
Yes.
Ms. Mason,
Yes,
Mr. Allen,
Yes.
passes 6-0.
All right, item number 4 is a rezoning request from Wayne King on Jim Gower Road, AG2 to R40, and that's in the county, in our planning region.
So the,
Is there a motion to
I'm
put
sorry,
this on the
thank you.
floor?
so moved.
We have a motion, a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, we're good.
Mr. Wayne King has requested of the county to rezone 10.47 acres of property that he owns from AG2 to R40. Because this is within our planning region and urban growth boundary, it comes to us to make a recommendation one way or another. So staff is bringing it to the planning commission. We have no concerns with the rezone. It meets all of our criteria. It will come back to us. The subdivision will come back to us because it has to be designed to our subdivision regulations because it is in our planned growth boundary.
Okay, and we do have neighbors to the property in the audience tonight, so if you got any questions for them or David or...
How many houses does that rezoning allow him to build?
Well,
Mr. King told me 14 when he was up here. That's what he's looking at.
and the reason for that is that he's not getting sanitary sewer. So every home that he will build will have to be on a septic system. And so the density, that's why he's going with almost an acre lot, because he's gonna have to have that kind of size to be able to get those septic systems in.
And once he gets in there, there may be less too. I mean, you know the topo of the land, I know the topo of the land, so, there may be less than 14, when he gets there and gets everything laid out. But, I mean, as David says, there's really nothing that we can say about not approving the rezoning.
LB, how close does it get to you?
Next to my property.
Is he on down Jim Gower Road, or is it right there?
Mr.
There's
Jones?
a fence between my property and his, and on down Jim Dollar Road.
Mike, the property's right behind, the properties at front, 49, like the Specs, and where Mr. and Ms. Gower used to live, Ms.
Right.
Jiggs. The property is right behind
Behind Mr.
those
Gower's
houses.
house there.
Yes.
Jim Gower Road runs down the opposite side of the property from my side. There's a fence there. The entrance, as I understand from Mr. King, will be off Highway 49 and not Jim Gower Road. In fact, Mr. Durham back here, the entrance is coming in right beside his house. And that's his main concern, I think, because Mr. King's property goes right up next to him. But I talked to Mr. King the other day about that, and he said he would develop that where it would be satisfactory to him, the way he's going to fix that entrance. And there's two, I wish he was here, he's not, to explain the entrance to it, but he said it was two doing it. One would create a problem and one would not. And I can't describe what he said in that, but from what he told me, it would sound very satisfactory for Mr. Durham, but now he'll have to speak for himself.
Mr. Wayne King owns this piece of property.
Wouldn't it be more feasible to come off Jim Garrett Road and make improvements to that road to get back there to it, or?
I don't think so. I think it'd be more, to me, I would think if I was Mr. King, I'd rather come through that lot there that he owns. It'd be easier for a nice entrance than it would be on Jim Garrett Road. Jim Garrett Road is a narrow road, you'd have to go down and
Improvements
up.
on Jim Garrett, but it is a little narrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're talking about the entrance coming off of Jim.
No, the Jim, well, they were talking about why wasn't it, but right down here is a sinkhole next to the road. I know that for a fact. But this is a 50-foot right-of-way that's out to the highway. And then Mr. King owns this property, and then Mr. Durham owns this property. That's why he was saying he was concerned about that.
Mr. Chairman, after Ms. Head gets through showing this to the planning commission members,
Is that where he's coming out
Kathy would like to,
49?
Kathy Jones would like to address you as well.
Wayne King owns this property as well.
Okay.
And this is Jim Gower, and then that
Yeah.
sinkhole's coming, I call it a sinkhole.
Yes, I've been back there,
There's
Mr.
another
Garrett
sinkhole
before.
Oh,
back
I know there is.
That's what I'm, and that's a personal concern because of the runoff.
Oh, I know,
It's gonna go right in the sinkhole.
I know.
But I mean, that's personal. I don't need to put personal into
I
this.
understand. I know. You and I both have seen all that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's where everything is. And then Mr. and Ms. Jones live right in this
Yeah, I
property.
knew he'll be at the corner up there.
Yeah.
Are you satisfied that the road will be to your approval? I mean, you,
I don't know, because nobody's told me what it is.
Yeah.
Nobody said jack to us.
oh, okay.
I wouldn't know even known about this meeting if it hadn't been for Bill. So, being left out in the cold, it's gonna give you a bad attitude about it.
Yeah,
Now, I know that driveway that he's talking about, we don't really own it. It's kind of a community thing that was between my father-in-law and Jim Gower.
mhm,
And I think it's in here some way in the deeds that as long as we live there, that is our driveway and they are able to use it also. Now, once I sell my property to somebody else, I don't know if I'll lose that, but if I do, if he's building houses to sell, he's gonna lose his part of it. So there's some stuff that we need, legal stuff that we need to find out about that little strip before we do anything. I would think.
Okay, did you want to?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, for most of y'all, you know me. My name's Kathy Jones. I'm Bill's wife. Our house is one of the closest one to where the subdivision's going to be built. I've known the King family for about 40 years. I'm not a personal friend of them, but I have known them. They recently constructed our house about 1.5 years ago. I've seen their work, and it's really, really nice. I talked to Jonathan a couple of times because I was concerned, not only for ourselves, but for the Durhams, because they're our closest neighbor, and they would watch out for us in case something happened. The Kings bought that land 4 or 5 years ago as agriculture land, and they have farmed it. Of course, we have dirt that comes over there and noise that doesn't really bother me because, something's going to come close to you if someone buys it. But I talked to Jonathan, and he told me they're planning on 14 houses, and I did contact Gina a couple of times, and she told me it may not be that many. Jonathan says he has an acre lot planned, and he said the houses were going to run between 2,500 to 3,000 square feet. And he said the houses were going to start at approximately $350,000. And of course, like they said, he may not be able to get that many in there. I love looking across the farmland, but I work for the City of Springfield, so I know growth is coming. I hear people every day moving to White House or Pleasant View. There's no houses, they say, that's that size in Springfield that they can find. I mean, if it goes on the market, it usually sells. But I did talk to Jonathan. My concern was like several different things, and I asked about the Durhams because they are a neighbor, and, you know, Bill did go down and tell him, and he said that lot, when he bought the farm about 3 or 4 years ago, he bought that lot too. And he told me the lot is about, I think, 80 feet wide. And I said, what about, they're concerned about their drive. He said it will not affect their drive at all. They do not have to move it. He's planning on putting a nice entrance there. And my understanding, it was either 32 or 35 feet, whatever maybe the city requires the entrance, that it would be very nice. And this is what Jonathan told me. He was willing to offer the land on each side of that entrance to the homeowners on both sides, the left side and the right side, if they were willing to maintain it. And that he would offer them the land because all he really needed was the entrance. And if he did that, he did not have to have an association. And it would benefit the homeowner, and then it would give them a little bit more land. But if they weren't willing to do that, and he did do a homeowners association, their drive would still, the way they used it, there was still plenty of land there not to affect it. But I know growth is coming. I'd much rather have a nice subdivision behind my house than have a lot of townhouses or more things crammed in there later on. It is in the buffer zone. When the Kings built our house, we were exceptionally pleased. They do quality work, and they followed all the rules and the regulations. So that's pretty well it.
Okay, thanks.
David, go ahead. If this is zoning changes granted, how do we guarantee that the hopes of the landowners around that they do what they say?
Well,
what's the system to check this to make sure that?
Well, the system in place is that they will have to submit their subdivision plan to us. And because it's larger than 2 lots, it'll be coming to you because they're going to have a water line installed. CEMC is going to have to provide them the electricity. If they want gas, our gas department's going to have to work with them. So they're going to have to meet the majority of our requirements: road design, road width, curbs.
So it'll come back to us?
Oh, yes.
And not the mayor and all of them?
No, y'all are the planning. See, it's been a long time since you've seen a new subdivision, Buzzy.
I know.
So, but it comes to you. Y'all make the decisions on new subdivisions and zoning and the growth of Springfield. I'm looking forward to more subdivisions coming our way.
And to clarify this for the neighbors, this board doesn't actually change zoning. We only recommend to the mayor and alderman to change zoning.
No,
and
this
they're the
goes
ones
to the
that do.
county.
Well,
And then
yes.
it goes to the county.
In this particular case,
To the
Mr.
county.
King has petitioned Robertson County. Because it's in our urban growth boundary, you make a recommendation either to approve or disapprove. We will write a letter to the Planning Commission telling them your decision. Take that into consideration as they move forward with the rezoning request.
If they grant that, then there'll be a site plan?
A subdivision plan, yes, sir. And construction plans, the whole schmo.
And
Because
we'll all gather
this
together.
one is not going to be like Elder Drive where their utilities are already in. They're going to have to put in, like I said, put in everything but sewer, whatever they want. And whatever requirements that CEMC has of them, whatever requirement, the gas department will run the lines in for them, and then, but they have to meet our road design criteria. They have to, they have to meet everything about it. In the event 30 years from now, we decide that we're gonna annex that area, we want it to meet our existing criteria and not have for lack of a better phrase, a poison pill subdivision that doesn't meet our minimum requirements.
I don't mind voting for it, but I think Mr. King needs to get Mr. Durham, and he needs to be satisfied with this road. I mean, I know growth is coming, because I know it's gonna come behind y'all's house. I think y'all okay with it, because what he's gonna build back there, but he's gonna come right beside your house as far as the entrance. And I think they need to get together, I'll vote contingent on satisfying Mr.
Yes.
Durham on the entrance.
Well, I will say this, you know, the county has their planning commission meeting tonight. This is not on their agenda, because they have to get the recommendation from us. So it will be on their next month's agenda. Reach out to Doug Van's office, the planning commission office for Robertson County, the number
384-3666.
384-3666, and find out when they're, and get an agenda, and reach out to Mr. King to see if he can not meet your requirements to be satisfied with him to get that rezoned. And then show up at the planning commission meeting and voice your concerns.
I mean, I think they can work it out, but he needs to be satisfied with where the road's gonna look, where the entrance is gonna look, and how close it's gonna be to him. You know, it sounds like the lot's pretty wide. It sounds like he can move it over several feet and get away from part of
Yes,
this.
sir.
And I think he needs to be satisfied. I mean, it's gonna affect him more than anybody else with traffic coming by his place.
Yes, sir.
Well, with him telling Kathy that he was willing to, you know, let the property owners have that land, it sounds like he's very willing, but yet they need a guarantee of that.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm concerned that this gentleman winds up with a piece of property that's now changed to R40, and all of a sudden he decides that, well, I might just sell it now.
Yes, sir.
And then what's the repercussion of that?
Yes, sir. And with that said, if he sells it, whoever decides to put a subdivision in there, they will make their submittal to the Robertson County Planning Commission. It will come to us, and we have final approval on the subdivision. It has to meet our minimum requirements. So it doesn't matter if Mr. Knight is doing it, or if I'm doing it, or somebody comes in from Nashville and buys it, they will still have to meet the minimum requirements of the Springfield subdivision regulations.
Yeah, I agree with Buzzy, but on his part, it needs to be in writing. Mr. King and him, Mr. Durham have gotten together, this is what it's gonna look like, this is what I'm gonna do for you. If he sells it, then that's all in writing, and you gotta go by what they've laid out.
Yes, sir.
Period.
But once that zoning is changed, it's changed, isn't it?
It is. Well, I'm only assuming, correct me if I'm wrong,
And we're
but the
assuming
county
that Mr.
still,
Knight's-
the county has the same process that we do.
Pretty sure.
It has to have 3 readings. So there will be, so if the if the Robertson County Planning Commission passes it, it goes to the Robertson County Commission. And they will read it 3 different times, and on the second reading, they will have a public hearing in front of all their commissioners. I would like to think that Mr. Knight is going to hear about this gentleman's concerns, is going to reach out to him between now and next month's Robertson County Planning Commission.
Well, I would have felt better if he'd been here tonight, you know.
Well, he's not, that's the thing, he's not requesting the rezoning of us. He did actually come at one time and talk about us annexing it, and it was, because we couldn't annex Jim Gower Road, he backed away
It
from
all
that.
sounds good, and I'm hearing that there's trust. You know, this gentleman is a man of character, a man of his word, but, you know, sometimes things can change.
Yes, sir.
I just want to make sure that these people are protected, you know.
Yes, sir. I have met with Mr. King and his father, they about the potential annexation of that property and what we could rezone it to, but they decided to go with the county's bigger rezoning, and I think that the lower density is probably a better
I
thing.
think so too.
Can we add that into our recommendation, that we also recommend that they get together on this?
Oh, yes,
issue
sir.
here? Okay.
You tell us what you want in the letter, we're gonna write it first thing in the morning and get it to Doug Van by the afternoon.
So
We
far,
want-
this is what I have. Mr. Hollingsworth states that Mr. Durham's driveway needs to be settled. How close the driveway will be to Mr. Durham's satisfaction. I don't know what else you guys want me to add in there. I'm just kind of writing, it'll be better than that, but I'm just writing notes to try to get it down quick enough.
And we have 2 recordings, so you state it exactly the way you want it. We'll we'll listen to the audio and look at the video and make sure that we meet word for word what you guys say.
Is this acceptable to y'all?
So far,
Well, the fact too that you mentioned their quality of their work was good, and I think that lends to the character of what we would see and what we would love to see. As we've all said, we know that we need more of these type homes in this area, and I think you stated that. So I don't know that it would, as long as you are protected, you two, you know, the families are protected, I think it's something we probably need to vote on. But we need to make sure the criteria is spelled out for protection that they get together.
Okay. So, the way I'm understanding it, and I'm going to state this and you agree or disagree or correct. Mr. King needs to get with Mr. Durrett and satisfy...
Durham.
I'm sorry, Mr. Durham, and satisfy his concerns before the county moves forward with rezoning that property. Is that satisfactory to you, Mr. Durham? Okay, and we will put that in the letter if you guys vote to approve this rezoning.
And then still, it would be up to the county board to approve it or disapprove.
County Planning Commission and then go into the county commission,
Then we'll have to still approve the site plan.
the subdivision plat, yes, sir. The subdivision plat and the construction plans. You've seen quite a few site plans.
Yeah, I have.
Okay, is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
What David said,
What David said.
Second.
or what David's gonna say.
I'm gonna say it on your behalf,
Thank you, thank you.
on behalf of the planning commission.
Okay, this is what I've got. Mr. King needs to get with Mr. Durham and satisfy his concerns about his driveway before this rezoning goes to the Robertson County Planning Commission.
And our recommendation is for approval.
You're right.
Based on that.
And I would
Conditional.
say an agreement in writing, not just a verbal agreement, agreement in writing.
Agreement in writing.
Yes.
And we can put that in verbiage together and we can email that to you guys tomorrow for your approval if that's what you would like. We don't have to have it to them tomorrow. We can get y'all, email that to you, have you all give us your approval, and then we can deliver that on Monday or Tuesday. Or we can start calling you.
I'm satisfied you understand what we're saying.
Okay. All right. Just want to make sure y'all are happy as well. Customer service is our goal.
Well, as soon as Gina gets all this down, we're gonna vote.
We have a motion, don't we?
Yes,
have a
we do.
motion and a second.
Yes, we do. Okay, are you ready?
We're ready.
Okay, Mr. Powell,
Yes.
Mr. Hollingsworth,
Yes.
Ms. Mason,
Yes.
Ms. Boyd,
Yes.
Mr. Poole,
Yes.
Mr. Allen,
Yes.
passes 6-0.
All right, we'll drop on down to our first add-on. And this is a long one. The City of Springfield is proposing to utilize the 2008, and I don't remember what that was, LPRF funding to make Phase 2 developments of MLK Park. Is there a motion to put this on the floor for discussion?
So moved.
Okay.
Got both of you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're ready.
We have Mr. Martin here if you have very specific questions. It's our understanding this is a local park recreation fund.
Yes.
Controlled and managed by the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation. The Board of Mayor and Aldermen have already approved the Parks and Rec Department to move forward to get this grant. TDEC now wants the Planning Commission's approval that the Parks Department can move forward with getting this grant. And then once they get the grant, then they will hire their consultant and complete the plans, and whatever's left will move towards construction. And then the city has placed how much?
Oh, 500,000.
500,000 semi-matching funds to move forward with the second phase, or third phase or fourth phase of Martin Luther King Jr. Park that we started in 2004, correct?
So they want our permission to give us the money, right?
Yes, they want to know that the planning commission agrees with the board of
Hand it over.
It's redundant. It's already been taken care of by our board, but TDEC requires this step before they'll give us the original contract to be able to go.
Is the splash park ready to go?
The splash pad is going to get painted. The Tri-Star will be painted next week. We'll do a soft run through starting May 1st, and then we'll have the grand opening ribbon cutting May 25th. So we hope to see all y'all out there in your bathing suits, ready to rock and roll, and dump that big bucket of water.
Well, we saw Mike's already. He's just wearing his shorts.
We don't want to close the first day. We don't want to taint it or whatever.
I make a motion that we accept this.
Well, I got a motion.
You already
Mr.
got a
Powell.
motion, okay.
Okay, you
I got
have
a
the second.
You have a
second.
second.
Okay.
We're ready to vote. We're tired
Okay.
of discussing this.
And Terry, thank you. This is great.
Yes, it is great.
Ms. Boyd,
Yes.
Mr. Poole,
Yes.
Mr. Powell,
Yes.
Mr. Allen,
Yes.
Mr. Hollingsworth.
Yes.
Ms. Mason.
Yes.
Passes 6-0.
Thank y'all.
Thank you,
Thank
Terry.
you,
We
Terry.
appreciate what you
Thank you,
do.
Terry.
Thank y'all.
See you next meeting.
Next week, brother. We're just being here.
No, that's it. Committee of two.
He'll be back 2 or 3 or 4 months
Three,
after he
County
gets his site plan done.
Committee of three.
All right, our last add-on request was a replat of Southwork subdivision, and the purpose of the plat is to add 20 feet drainage easements as shown on the plat.
And I've got the plat for you to see.
Okay. Is there a motion to put this on the floor?
So moved.
A second?
Got it.
All in favor, say aye. Okay.
Mr. Allen, we're going to allow Gina to describe this item to you or discuss it with you. She's much more versed in it than I am.
Well, it's really simple, except the only thing is that it just kind of got slipped through the cracks with all the transition when Grant left and everything like this. So basically, the purpose of this plat is just to show on here a 20-foot easement or 2 20-foot easements that is needed for drainage and utility purposes. And they are there and there. And I think I have one more plat too. The drainage easements are Fuzzy and Miss
Snakes, huh?
Bullet. They're here and here.
Did you see what she said? That's one of the drainage. and here's the other one.
Right beside your house.
You got it?
Yeah.
Those plats are already there. I mean, those lots are already there. This has already been platted. I mean, there's houses there too. But these drainage easements did not get put on the original plat. So we had to go back and redo this. So that's
It sort of runs right behind a couple of those
paperwork.
houses.
Yes, basically. Making sure everything gets on the plat.
Yeah.
Does the city have a recommendation?
The recommendation is to approve. Am I correct in that, Gina? Yes, Gina said yes.
The utilities and everything that really wants it.
Okay, any other questions? Is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Let's vote on the drainage.
Mr. Powell,
Yes.
Mr. Hollingsworth,
Yes.
Ms. Mason,
Yes.
Ms. Boyd,
Yes.
Mr. Poole,
Yes.
Mr. Allen,
Yes.
passes 6-0. Thank y'all.
And we have one more item, it's a BZA item, conditional use requested by Excel Real Estate, New York Lane. And
Yes, there's no vote on this item, it's just discussion. XL Industries is expanding. Their expansion has triggered the clause within the zoning ordinance that requires compliance with the zoning ordinance and any and all other ordinances, regulations, or codes that the City of Springfield has adopted. Up until that point, they were non-conforming. So now that they want to expand, they have to come in compliance. Part of that compliance is their existing property is zoned CG, Commercial General. What they do is not allowed in that zoning classification. So we're in the process of rezoning. Last month, we brought to you guys rezoning it to a restricted industrial. What they do is not allowed by right. What they do is a conditional use, which is still fabrication. It is allowed by conditional use in our restricted industrial zoning classification. Staff's recommendation is for the BZA to make that approval because it will bring their business and their building into compliance with our zoning classification, with our zoning ordinance and stormwater ordinance and building codes. You know, their new building will have to meet our building codes, and so that's our recommendation. Is there any discussion on that or any questions? So we will tell the BZA, and Mr. Poole will reflect that as well, that y'all are aware and that y'all approve us moving forward with this conditional use. I'd like to take a moment. I think everybody here is aware that one of our Board of Zoning Appeals members passed away. We're in, you know, we're going to move forward. I don't know how quickly in replacing Mr. Sweat, but you know, it's not going to be immediate, but we're starting the conversations with the Board of Mayor and Aldermen who represent the two wards that he was representing. So I think that just goes to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen for approval, but we will let you know who they have recommended for that. Second quick item, we have made an offer to a new planner, Kimberly Atlee. She's former director of Scottsville, Allen County, Scottsville, Kentucky. She will be joining our staff sometime in the middle of May. With that said, I just wanted to say, recently Gina has had her 19th anniversary with the City of Springfield. She's a valued member of the community development staff. She's a knowledgeable senior planner. She makes this job look easy, and it's not. And I just wanted to recognize Gina for the hard work that she's done for the city and let you guys know that she works very hard for this planning commission. And we look forward to having a new member on our staff so that we can do some more work other than just pushing the paper for new developments and rezoning classifications. We look forward to the opportunity to do a ordinance review. We look forward to the opportunity to do a future plan or be able to have input on our future 2030 plan. 2 years from now, 3 years from now, we're going to have, you know, the census is going to take place. This department is very instrumental in how we remap our wards and their boundaries. So, you know, we're going to have a lot on our plate coming down the pike. Look, you know, I'm always the optimist, and we're going to have all kinds of development taking place here in the next 2 or 3 years. Y'all are going to be covered over. We're going to be covered over. Everybody's going to be covered over, and we're going to be very happy to be covered over. So, with that said, Mr. Chairman.
One other thing. You all may not know, I know, but Alan's sister passed away, and we send condolences to Alan.
Yes, my sister and your sister were very good friends.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
But anyway, I just wanted y'all to know that, and I wanted Alan to know that we're so sorry.
And will the new person, Kim, I think you said her name,
Kimberly,
will she
yes.
be coordinating these meetings, and you will not be with us anymore?
Oh, no, ma'am.
Okay.
She will just be an extension of staff. She has a background, she has a degree in geography and a background in graphic information system mapping. So she's got a background similar to what Grant had, being able to use the GIS mapping. So we will be able to do that type of mapping where I don't have that availability right now. So it's data collection. You can click on parcels and get all kinds of information. So she's going to help us with that, but she's also going to, her and Gina are going to split the site plan load, the subdivision load, and so that'll allow us to, you know, like I said, do a planning ordinance review and get back to you guys with that. It'll allow us to do a subdivision regulation review, and so that we can make some have an informed discussion with this commission on that. So we really look forward to her coming on board. I think she brings a very good skill set to the city of Springfield that will be beneficial for the planning commission and the city of Springfield in the years to come.
That's great. I just want to say I appreciate Gina and what she's done. And you can bring in all kinds of new people with all kinds of qualifications, but to have been here and has the knowledge and experience that she's had for all these years is very valuable to us.
You're exactly right.
And we depend on that a lot.
Institutional knowledge cannot be replaced. And she's has a vast repository of it. I consult with her daily on the directions that we need to go and take and the decisions that we need to take.
And we also need to thank you for stepping in and the job you've done in this transition.
Well, thank you. Well, I don't know, I think you're aware, the transition's been made. I'm the community development director. I'm not interim. I haven't been interim since, I want to say December of last year. So.
Question before we leave. Did the mayor, board, and alderman, or was it the planet, or y'all gonna do it? Do we have a structure for this demolition and stuff now? When we condemn a piece of property, do we have a structure set up to where we're gonna go this far for this many months, and then this happens after this many months?
Are you talking like for the Royal Inn and for
Well,
the Second
yeah,
Amendment?
anything we're gonna demo, of course, we're talking about Second Amendment now, but.
Right.
You know, we can't, of course, we've had this discussion before, and I talked to Gina Hope the other day about this, and I asked Gina, and she said, well, we can't do anything with it, and it's still private property. But we condemned it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, when we condemned it, we didn't put a sticker on it, we didn't put nothing on that.
Yes,
bill
it was
saying stay away.
placard. It was placard.
placard.
They were
It was
notified.
gone.
Well, that doesn't
One
mean.
roped off, and because them two old boys lost a pickup truck and a trailer because the building
Yeah.
fell in on it. Now, they're not in business, I don't guess, right now, because they can't, because they're taped off.
Right.
Okay, what I'm saying is, the man that owns it, what I understand from Gina, said, well, I got somebody wants to buy it. How many times we heard that?
I understand. And he has been given
How
notice.
many times we heard that mess?
We're moving as quickly as we can move within the limits of the legal system.
That's what I'm saying, but do we have a structure that sets us up to, you know, okay, it's condemned, we've condemned it. You've got X number of months or X number of days to either fix it or get ready to take it apart.
Yes, sir.
One of the two.
To answer your question, yes, we have the system.
Okay,
At this present time, we have the funding.
I knew we had the funding when they switched
Okay.
it over from Royal Inn to there. I knew we did
We
that.
normally have enough funding for demolition to take down maybe 3 or 4 small homes in the urban blighted areas every year. This year, the board put in enough money to take on the Royal Inn. They knew we were serious. They have approved the transfer of that funding over to take on the Second Amendment gun store. I do not know at the present time if there's going to be funding for big projects in the future.
Right.
So, but there is a process in place.
Of course, the Royal Inn property, you know, we sat there, and he kept on saying, I got a buyer, I got it for sale, I got a buyer coming in. He kept on doing it. The only time he tore it down was when all of a sudden the funding was there, and he knew we was finna tear it down.
Yes, sir.
When he realized that, he got off his
And I believe
darkness
that,
and got it torn
and I
down.
believe that our Board of Mayor and Alderman learned something from that. If we have enough, let's just say, at the beginning of the fiscal year, we have another big building that needs to be tore down, and the funding wasn't in place. We didn't have funding in the budget. I feel very confident that there will be funding in the next fiscal year budget, and they will be notified, it will be put in, and we will move forward.
That's what I'm saying, there need to be a system where the funding hits, probably have to use it. Because they don't want to lean on that property. They don't want that. That's what happened to the boy out there. He didn't want that lien on that property. And, because he knew he could probably take it down cheaper than what we was gonna do it for.
Yes, very much so.
I believe that they
Yeah,
gave Mr. Smiley, the owner of the Second Amendment, didn't they give them 3 months?
No, in the past, he's well past his
Oh, I know.
deadline. He's got 30 days to move forward. So he's got to the end of this month, and then we're gonna start moving
And someone
forward.
did come in and talk to us, a serious person did come in and talk to us about that site.
Yeah. And the thing about the site is, anybody, if he owns it, if we tear it down, put a lien on it, or anybody else comes in and buys it, the building's got to come down.
Yes.
Regardless. Somebody buys the property, they got to tear the building down.
Right.
Yes,
I
sir.
mean, it's got to come down.
Right.
But it's just an eyesore.
Yes, sir.
It's a bad situation, and we need to get some kind of structure that, hey, this is what we got, this is what we go by, and we're gonna tell you what we're gonna go by, and we're gonna do the letter of the law on you.
Yes, sir, there is a process.
If they won't take it to court, that's another situation.
And we have one that they've taken us to court
Yeah.
over. And we're, 3-4 years later, we're still waiting to see a judge concerning it.
Yeah.
Did we ever decide on what date we were gonna meet in July?
The second?
Second. Number 2.
They might have made that decision without you, Buzz.
Okay.
I didn't call you and let you
But
know.
somebody ought to tell you, though.
I'm just focusing on subdivision.
So if there are not any more questions,
Okay, anything else?
Motion to adjourn.
Let's go.
thank you. We appreciate it. Y'all have a good rest of the week.